Okay, you ready to get started?
Yeah, to be honest, I thought that we were actually already on it. So I thought you were dropping me in it straight away.
What's up, email geeks? We're back again with Steven Sayo.
Yes, Sayo!
Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to Feedback Friday.
Thank you for having me. It's been quite some time.
Yeah, it's been lonely around here without you. I've been not sure, who to talk to. It's been real sad.
You know my inbox is always open for you, Matt.
True. Well, we're looking at some Carhartt emails today. I think I said that right.
Carhartt, yep.
Yeah.
That's how I say it.
And Work in Progress is like their cool brand, I think.
It's sometimes cut down to Carhartt WIP. I just typically refer to it as Carhartt.
I like their emails, I think, better than the regular Carhartt brand. I think they have some more interesting photography to play with and some cool illustrations like this one.
They really like experimenting with like the photography and illustrations like this.
Yeah, I feel like these are fashion emails that don't really feel like anything else that I really get in my inbox a lot. Even off the top, this hiding the nav or minimizing it to men and women on mobile is pretty exciting compared to the full desktop. That's a good little touch already.
Yeah, because you don't have to worry about the nav bar scaling down and trying to fit all that text in. So it's good that they've realized that men and women is typically their most clicked links maybe, or it's just where they want to focus people. Just getting rid of that and shortening it down just makes it a lot better. And you're saving space as well.
Speaking of space, they got this huge, big hero image that just like pulls me in at least.
This is where it can be a bit hit and miss, because some people say like, oh, you have to have your call to actions above the fold. Whereas this is obviously one large image that catches your attention first, and it's just like, oh, what's this about? Scroll down, and then you've got your text, which is nice to see that it's not image, it's actually live text.
I feel like a lot of these elements are actually live text, like the CTAs and even the nav bar up top was live text. This like black and white email theme I really enjoy too. It really matches with the rest of the clothing as well.
I mean, the clothing still kind of stands out, but I'm not sure about the half-tone dots in the background. I'm not sure if it plays with my eyes too much.
I think it's interesting. It almost seems to like form a picture on desktop, like in the background in some ways. That's a little lost on mobile especially. It's interesting too that, they don't show prices. There's no like buy now CTA outside of, this shop now up here. They're just kind of letting the clothes sort of breathe and speak on their own.
That would kind of help with click-throughs in a way, because it's just like, wow, I really like that shirt. Click through, see the price. If it's yay or nay, you've still got the click. I mean, what weighting you put on your analytics, if it's opens or clicks you're going for.
This email just seems kind of like just out there, like here's the clothing, here's this new like sort of drop. It feels very like almost like an event. The whole email is themed this way. Just a nice one-off email that highlights the clothing and feels somewhat personal, but just like very like customized in some way.
Yeah, I like the theme that it's just all black and white as well, apart from your call to actions, which makes it really stand out. But I don't know whether they need two call to actions side by side. So they've got the shop now and learn more. It's maybe concentrate on which one you want people to do. Do you want me to shop now or learn more about what I'm reading?
Yeah, I guess to learn more maybe could be a little bit more clear. Maybe there's something in here that, explains a little bit about this project. It's a little vague, so I guess like maybe it's good that they do have some way to learn a little bit more, but maybe the shop now by itself, maybe it would be like not enough information too.
Yeah, so I would either suggest having just one call to action there and then having shop now further down, or have different color priorities, maybe grayscale shop now off a little bit if you want learn more to be the main call to action, or vice versa. But one thing I've noticed while you're scrolling up and down is on the mobile view, if you scroll up just a little bit, so you've got no spacing under where it says white and black, and then when you scroll down to the next one, it's got spacing. And it seems to repeat, like they haven't added a spacer on the left-hand side images.
A little tricky, with that spacing, getting those both right with having them stack correctly.
So it's just a little detail that stood out to me. But it could be a simple fix. Like if, for example, if those on desktop, if those two are two independent table cells and the right one only has a spacer under the bottom, but it's giving the impression that both of them have, you could just add another spacer under the left-hand side and it'll just even it out when it gets put onto mobile.
Yeah, I personally do like at least that they stack. I think if they were next to each other, that would have been, a little hard to maybe click one of those individual ones, but this being like full size on mobile is definitely a good experience.
The way they've got the clothing on a pattern as well. I know I mentioned that some of them play with my eyes a little bit with the half-tone dots, but it's different. It's not just your average T-shirt on a white background.
Yeah, I feel like that can feel so simple and plain, especially when your shirt is white. Being on a solid white or solid black background, it might deter a little bit away from highlighting like the graphic design or something. So I think the pattern is a nice little change of pace.
The way that the first product as well is the same image that you've got at the top of the page as well.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So it's just like, wow, I like that. I want that. I'd like that on the T-shirt. And it's just like, bam, right there.
For
right
sure.
now. Click through.
So this is like a little touch down here, this little signature.
I always find like signatures in emails, it gives that personal touch, I suppose, but it can swing both ways. It's just like, are you just putting it in there, or are you trying to make it personal?
I guess this is maybe like from whoever designed this collection, so maybe it just kind of feels a little personal, but I feel like if it's a fashion email and it's like the CEO signing off, I don't know if it'd mean the same. It looks kind of like a cool ending. It's maybe it's better than a CTA, but there's not like a bottom CTA. I assume that if you wanted any of these, you'd probably just end up clicking them. So I don't think we really need a CTA right here. I do like this call out, at least, this change of color too.
They're keeping to a theme, so the black and white, and then you've got this one color that punches through the design. The only crazy thing is, why would you mention free shipping so far down?
Oh, true, right.
You might want that further up, or you might want to break the email up a little bit, or are they thinking that it deters away from the original message?
Maybe at the very top of the email, maybe that would distract a little bit from the rest of the content. I do hope, maybe when this email went out that they had something similar on their website, like a pop-down that did show you this as well. So maybe if it was like a sale, highlighting the free shipping more would, be more positive. This really stood out to me too, like kind of flipping this art piece with the little play button. I'm not even sure exactly. This looks maybe like an album cover. These icons just felt a little off to me. They didn't really add anything, and not that they would even be like confusing that you might click on them. They just kind of look a little off.
I guess it's one of those things to say, like, it is available on the Apple App Store or Google Play. Maybe it makes it a little bit more clearer on what it's about, but to me, like, I thought it was referring to a video at first.
It's like a lot of brands sort of have like curated Spotify playlists or little radio mixes on SoundCloud or something nowadays. So it does feel like part of like the lifestyle brand to have that. So that's kind of a fun little upsell in, a promotional email that's mostly selling you T-shirts or something. Like a little mini mix attached to it is kind of an interesting idea.
Yeah, but just thinking about this, it's kind of like, fair enough, it does follow on, but it feels like this could be a separate email in itself, almost, because the theme at the beginning is black and white with these touches of the purpley blue, and then at the end of the T-shirts, the clothing, apparel, kind of have the free shipping, free delivery bar messaging, and then you kind of go into this email. So it's kind of like they've put like stitched two together.
It is interesting to think about their sends. I do feel like sometimes they're like multi-purpose. Maybe that's how they differ than some people, but yeah, I think usually we would say to have like one single focus of an email. Maybe this is too short for a single email for them, or they just feel like that might be bothersome, so they're going to throw it on the bottom of one. But I guess it's like if you could almost just stop here and not scroll down anymore, or if you already clicked out. So I would be surprised if someone actually scrolled really this far down and maybe read about this. Maybe it's more just like a nice value add if someone gets this far in the email.
It's interesting because Action Rocket actually did test on that, asking if the fold was real, experimenting where people clicked on their emails, which I think they've released on their blog. But I've noticed even with the emails that I've sent out, people do actually scroll right to the bottom, even if I consider them long, depending on what the content is. I find my emails can either be quite long or short, depending on brands and trends that are going on. But I do have a look at the clicks, and people do go quite like to the bottom even, or quite far down, when I would typically hesitate on sending out an email that's so long.
This one feels just about the right content length to me. They do show a good amount of T-shirts, and they kind of space them out, having some of them take over like the full width. It feels very like at least consumable, or if there's more shirts online or different clothing, like maybe like pants or something like that, they could have that on the landing page in the shop section rather than having to show you everything in this email.
It does flow quite nicely going from the side by side to the one solid. It just mixes it up a little bit, so it's not just the same as you're scrolling down. I guess your eyes kind of get bored if everything's the same. Like, you don't pay as much attention to the detail, whereas if it changes up, it kind of forces you to re-engage with it.
I think personally for me, like 2-column is just right. Like 3-column is a little too much for my eye sometimes. Even on desktop. And then on mobile, I think this 1-column is probably the right choice. I'd be interested to see too, like how much of their audience is on mobile versus desktop. Because in this case, the desktop feels a little bit more polished, but the mobile is still pretty clean too. So
I'd be interested in seeing if this got cut off in Gmail or Outlook, with it being quite a long email, and the impact that could have. But yeah, just the final thoughts is those little tweaks on the products on the mobile version, just to give it that little bit of space to keep the consistency, just balance that out. But other than that, yeah, overall, great design. It's nice to see products on different background other than just white. It does work. I just have to be a bit careful with the patterns. Like I say, these early images with loads of small dots just seem to make my eyes go a little bit funny staring at them.
I think you're right too. The black and white helps. If these were maybe like colorful, it might just be like so much to look at. So I think it really works with the black and white design, but yeah, definitely something to be conscious of if you're wanting to try something like this in your emails. Do you want to go on the Black Friday email?
Black Friday, yeah, let's have a look. It's going to be upon us before we know it.
Very, very soon, yes. Get excited.
Yeah, I can't believe we're in September already.
So I think I remember getting this one on Black Friday and just being like really pleasantly surprised. I feel like I didn't really get too many emails with gifts, or if they were just kind of like flashing at me in my inbox for Black Friday. So I like this one. It did kind of like tell a story. And
definitely. The animation looks really smooth. I haven't checked how heavy this GIF is, to be honest with you. I'm going to say it's pretty big, but I have to say, like, the smoothness of the animation is really good. And who thinks of using a blind to reveal text? It's very nice, because typically in retail, GIFs are just like flashing text, like image, flash on, flash off, text, flash on,
exactly.
flash off. Whereas this it's just really nice to see something different.
I think when I got this too, I thought that, like, I'm not even sure if it has a fallback, but just this Black Friday with the logo on the bottom was kind of enough for me almost as a fallback. I guess it would be nice to have something else, but I mean, the starts now is a cool touch if you have it on, but I guess even like this single image by itself still like looks pretty cool.
It is interesting, and it's not your typical GIF animation, like I say, so really well thought out. Well done, the design team over at Carhartt, for that one.
This is pretty image heavy, but I still like the simple design, shop men, shop women, like back to that nav again. Like, I think they kind of just know like what people might be looking for. So using that same color, as their CTA color across those two emails, pretty simple, straightforward.
But then would you need two separate call outs, or could you just have one like shop Black Friday deals?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess, since it is discounts on select items, maybe these, could be a little bit different, or the single shop now CTA, but it could be one of those things that, since they use these side to side, they're just training their audience to maybe click on one of those. I guess too, they could maybe know if you could opt in between, for men or women.
It's also interesting how on desktop the two CTAs are the same size, whereas when it goes to mobile, the shop men's shorter, which is, I presume, because the words are shorter. I'm right-handed, so like stretching my right, depending on the size of the mobile device, like trying to stretch over to click men. Would be more difficult. But
yeah, I wonder how many people too actually click on those CTAs versus just clicking on the main sort of hero GIF.
I would typically lean to like the massive image at the top that's linked, even though it doesn't have like a click here or any type of call to action there. I would say that people would more than likely click it.
I really like the use of black and white colors again with the little grayscale background. I think just keeping it super simple as a brand in general, like their colors that they use.
Keeping the colours just to near enough a 3-colour palette. Fair enough, you've got the grey in there making it 4, but it's all different shades. So you've got your different shades of black to white, but then you've just got this one call to action, punchy, purpley blue. I'm not quite sure what you call that colour, but
I think it's like a purple blue. That sounds about right.
bleu.
Exactly. Well, I love this brand, and I like to see what they do. I feel like they do a lot of cool experimental stuff with imagery while, still thinking, sometimes about accessibility and making the email look good on both mobile, desktop, and using live text. So I'm a big fan of their emails. I'm
definitely going to keep an eye out for this Black Friday, see if they've gone with live text instead of an images text this year. But cool. It's definitely one to watch.
Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for joining another Feedback Friday.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for listening to me blab on.
Well, if you haven't read Steven's amazing article on accessibility, you definitely need to check it out. It's a good read.
Oh, bless you. Thank you very much. Check it out on Really Good Emails Medium blog post.
Well, thanks. Have a good weekend.
You too, matey. Take care.
If you have any feedback on the series, please leave a comment down below. Hit subscribe to keep up with future episodes. Thank you for giving a listen and letting our sponsors know you love Really Good Emails.